Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and this is my review on USW Chaos Theory 2017. This is obviously an Intensity branded pay-per-view, and I have the matchup card here, my booklet of information. Overall, there were 7 matches on the card, which typically happens with with an Intensity pay-per-view. Took place on February 12th. This is February 18th, so I know we're a bit late. But I've been pretty busy this week, and I know there haven't been very many videos this week. But that's why I'm putting up 3 videos today. Anyway, um, overall, I thought the show was pretty damn good. I thought it kind of built up more storyline than you would expect. Like from an Intensity pay-per-view, you'd expect more drive and more, you know, processing. With this, I just thought it was straightforward, pretty damn good. Yeah, overall, the matches were great. They led into something. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I thought the storytelling during the matches was even better. So let's just kick it off with it. Kickoff match was Majigeta versus Dwayne Porter. This was one of the more technically, probably the most technically sound match on the card. It featured a lot of grappling. It featured a lot of counters. Majigeta used his strength to his advantage. Dwayne Porter used his agility to his advantage. And overall, the two put on a really, really good, clean match. Now, you look at it in this case, what happens from here on out? Is this a one-off? Is this, going to turn into a match for retaliation? I don't know yet. All I do know is that it really showed that these two can put on a good match, and it showed that these two have potential facing people other than themselves, or I'm sorry, other than each other. I thought that the match really played into the fact that Majigeta has been making a lot of decisions. He's, at one point he was trying to decide whether he was going to, jump over the top rope and onto Porter on the outside, or go out and put him back inside, to avoid the 10 count. I just thought the storytelling was there really well, or it was told really well. I thought the match was technically sound. Majigeta ended up beating Porter with a decapitator, and Majigeta wins clean. This match was pretty damn good. I liked it. I enjoyed it, and it was a good way to open up Chaos Theory. Second match on the card was for the Red Belt Championship. It was Morgan Anthony against the Red Belt champion, Weiler. This match was probably the least entertaining match on the card. I talked about it before. Morgan Anthony is not really in the position to be a champion or in the championship picture, any championship picture at the moment. Weiler has his red belt reign has been very lackluster over the past couple of months that he's held it. I think the story is not there. I think the match was decent. It wasn't entertaining, but it wasn't like terrible. I'd say it was decent, or at least a little bit, or at the very least below average. I thought Weiler did whatever he could to kind of put character into the match to kind of help alleviate the fact that the match wasn't good. So props to Weiler for that. But overall, the match was it was clumsy. There were botches all over the place. And in the end, Weiler picked up the victory over Morgan Anthony with a Y. So yeah. Kickoff match is a 3-star match. Red belt title match. Ooh. I'm going to say 1 star. Just going to say 1 star. No, you know what? I'll give it 2 stars. Weiler and Morgan Anthony gets 2 stars. I didn't like the match. That's really all. And I don't think anybody did, really. Third match is where they kind of picked up steam again. USW Tag Team Championships, Jack Ramsey and Austin Cole against Amor and Xavier King. Ramsey and Cole are the champions going into the match. This match was well, A, a lot better than the match before it. B, a good way to kind of bring back the fans' attention into the match because overall, Austin Cole and Jack Ramsey are they're pretty much the revival of USW. And Amor and Xavier King are still like mending, but they're working well as a tag team. So the story is there, the intrigue is there, and they always have really good matches. This is probably one of my more favorite matches on intense or feuds on intensity right now. I like where they're going with it. I like what they're doing with it. I like the involvement both teams have. You see Amor and Xavier King as these guys that are pursuing the tag team titles. They were brought together and now they have an opportunity to take tag team gold, something that neither of them have really ever gotten. And then you have Austin Cole and Jack Ramsey, who are looking to be the defiant, badass heel champions who will do whatever it takes to win and who will stop at no limits to win. And overall, the match was pretty damn good. There was a spot where Amor went through the middle rope, caught onto Jack Ramsey, turned around into a tornado DDT on the outside, which was awesome. There was a point where Austin Cole was going for a pin on Amor, and Jack Ramsey, much like the Revival do, was holding Austin Cole's feet on the ropes, but the referee ended up seeing it, and yeah, allotted for the pin to break up. Overall, the match was really good. I thought Amor and Xavier King actually put on a better performance than Jack Ramsey and Austin Cole. I thought they meshed really well. I think they're starting to get into this kind of gimmick of a tag team. I think it's starting to. I think they're starting to gel. I think they are putting up better matches as time goes on, and yeah, Jack Ramsey and Austin Cole pick up the win with Ramsey pinning Xavier King. So Ramsey and Cole retain. Then we have a promo with Philip Akron backstage taking the Blue Belt Championship or talking about taking the Blue Belt Championship from Samuel North tonight, and that's the guarantee. Then we get into the fourth match, which was probably the most stiff and most New Japan-like match of the year so far in USW. Alexander Rotten versus Cannon. This match was extremely good, and the tag team title match I'm giving 3 stars. This match, Alexander Rotten and Cannon, was extremely good and was extremely physical and extremely stiff. Alexander Rotten was putting forearms and elbows and fists and everything onto Cannon's back and his jaw, and you could see like his back welting up. You could tell these guys were kicking the fucking shit out of each other just because they were trading back and forth, punch and strike after strike after strike. And Cannon wasn't short of that either. He was putting forearms, he was putting shoulders into Alexander Rotten, and at one point catching him over the cheekbone and having him drop to a knee because he just cracked Alexander Rotten on the cheekbone so hard. Overall, an awesome match, and the probably the most talked about moment from the whole match was when Cannon was tossed to the outside and Alexander Rotten went to the apron, bounced off the middle rope, and did a turnabout crossbody onto Cannon. And Cannon sold it extremely well, grabbing at the ribs and at his chest, because that's what Rotten landed on. And Rotten weighs, 300 pounds, 310 pounds. Cannon weighs maybe 200. So that's over 100 pounds being dropped onto your chest. So that's going to hurt. And Cannon sold it beautifully. And the match went on for a good 25, 30 minutes, which is something you only really see with the main event or a world championship match. And I thought it was played out extremely well. This is probably my favorite feud on intensity, just because you can tell both are putting in so much emotion and so much drive. Cannon looks like he legitimately hates Alexander Rotten, and Alexander Rotten is doing what he has always done best and looks like he legitimately hates everybody. They are kicking the shit out of each other, and they're not holding back. there was one point in time where Alexander Rodden had Cannon up in a suplex and just held him there for like what felt like 45 to 50 seconds, and then hit him not with a suplex, but a brainbuster, covering him, and Cannon kicked out at like 2.8. Overall, just an extremely good match. And in the end, Alexander Rodden tears at the eyes of Cannon when he's like got him in a headlock or something like that. He rakes at the eyes because Cannon is trying to set him up for a cannonball backflip, and rakes at the eyes. Cannon turns around, and he goes to turn around to Alexander Rodden again. Rodden goes behind the back, locks him in the rot, and then drops down. The rot has turned in from a bear hug into a Kokita clutch, and Cannon passes out. Doesn't tap. Cannon passes out, and Rotten wins by referee stoppage because, yeah, or knockout, because Cannon is just unresponsive and out. So overall, an extremely good match and extremely physical. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. Really good match. I enjoyed every single moment of, I think it was like the 26-minute and like 30-second match. It was really good. I would recommend you go back and watch it if you haven't watched Chaos Theory already. Then we have a promo with Ezra and Hills and Benny Franklin walking backstage. Rose Line is trying to get an interview with like one of the two, and they're like kind of like brushing her to the side. Like they're walking to the ring. They're all cocky. They know they're going up against some random tag team that they probably picked up from a bunch of local jobbers of the WWE offhanded. So they're like, yeah, we got this. It's a champion. It's like it's virtually like we own the place. This is just our crowning. So yeah, pre-match, Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin walk to the ring, and they're in the ring, and they're like this. They're like, oh, come on. And then the lights go out, and then the entrance, the Motiontron, just shows pretty much a whole starlit back phase or whatever. Stars are shining over and over. It's like a dark. I saw it as dark purple, so it must be like blue because I'm colorblind. But I saw it as kind of like a dark purple. I mean, it may have been dark purple with a bunch of like bright lights flickering on and on and on, and then they pan out and they pan out, and then they kind of pan down, and it's like all the planets in a line, and then they move in to Earth, and then they go deeper into Earth, and they end up in somebody's backyard, and then they look at like a backyard, they look into the night sky, they see stars, and then as it keeps going up and up and up, music starts to play and gets higher and higher and higher, and then it pans up and you see Stargazers, and lights go out, everybody's going insane, and then the music finally hits, and the Stargazers nameplate goes up on the Motiontron, and everybody's going insane. So Arvo Black and Aiden Ritchie, the Stargazers, make their debut on USW programming, and for Intensity, they end up, I mean, practically getting the pop of the year so far. Everybody was going insane. It was awesome because USW fans don't really, or USW viewers don't really see too many debuts because USW doesn't bring in too many guys. They usually retain their core guys. That way they don't build up new, or they don't have to build up different storylines that intrude. But they sign a couple of guys from like wrestling schools or whatever, and the Stargazers just so happen to be like performing in Massachusetts and Maine and Maryland. So when they had Chaos Theory, since they were up in Vermont for Chaos Theory, people knew who the Stargazers were, and they showed up, and everybody went livid. And Ezra and Kills and Benny Franklin were standing in the corner when the Stargazers got up to the apron, and into the ring, and they were kind of like looking at the like how the Ascension looked when Finn Balor debuted his demon character at NXT Takeover Fatal 4-Way, maybe something like that, or our rival, something like that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, huge pop. Stargazers, probably one of the best tag teams you'll see in New England. Um, yeah, they make their debut, and Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin get into the ring, etc. So they're like, all right, I guess we've got this match. So yeah, Ezra Hills starts the match, and Aiden Ritchie starts the match. And they go back and forth. This match was very clean, very sound, etc. Stargazers pulled up a bunch of their high-flying movesets. Stargazers is kind of like a much, much, much more high-flying version of DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I try to refer to them as different tag teams. And they were just lighting up Ezra and Hills and Manny Franklin for the first 10 minutes or so. And then Hills and Franklin started to get some offense in for like 5 or 10 minutes. And then Ritchie and Black started, taking the moves to Hills and Franklin, who were taking bumps pretty soundly, and got to the point where Hills just waltzed out of the ring and was like, fuck this, fuck you. And Hills and Franklin just proceeded to walk up the ramp, and the Stargazers were like, all right, we'll take the count out win. We'll take a win. Fuck it. Because it's like, hey, it's a win. So it's a win on the it's a win on the record sheets. You get to say you beat the longest running USW tag team champions of all time. So Stargazers pick up a victory via countout. I thought the countout, while a lot of people hated the ending to the match as it being a countout, I liked it because it built story and it built the ability to have a rematch between the Stargazers and Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin, which will happen over the next 4 weeks until Retaliation. So that was a good match. I'm giving it 4 stars, and we're moving on to the 6th match, which is the Blue Belt Championship match, which I really enjoyed. And yeah, that's cool. Philip Akron against Samuel North. Samuel North is the defending Blue Belt champion. This match was really good. Philip Akron proved why he's one of the most athletic powerhouses in USW. Samuel North pulled out character. He looked like he was developing more of a face like hero type version. He looked like he could be building up to be something bigger than like a mid-card champion. And yeah, that's that. Samuel North ended up falling flat to the Acorn, and Akron picks up the win 1-2-3, and Philip Akron becomes a new Blue Belt champion. I honestly didn't expect it. I wanted it to happen, but I didn't expect Samuel North to lose the Blue Belt championship relatively early in his feud. And then we get a promo, and this was probably one of the most shocking things. No, it was probably the most shocking thing next to the Stargazers debut to happen at Chaos Theory, and that was James walking out and cutting a promo, talking about how he's not had the best of luck at Call to Greatness. His first Call to Greatness that actually mattered, he won the Blue Belt title and lost it to some big guy in a mask who stole it from him in 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Hi, James. I know you're talking about me. Well, you're talking about Enigma, but yeah, sorry about that, buddy. Yeah. If any of you wonder why I go, I am a 1-time Blue Belt champion, 3-time WOW champion, or sorry, WOW World Heavyweight champion, 6-time USW champion, and a 23-time WOW Extreme champion. That 1-time Blue Belt champion happens to come from me beating James at Call to Greatness 9. Same night I beat Morbid. I walked out with 2 titles. So yeah, sorry about that, James. And then at Call to Greatness 10, he came up short again. Call to Greatness 11, he came up. I'm not sure if he came up short or not. I think he came up short at Call to Greatness 10. And at Call to Greatness 11, I'm not sure what he did. I forget. And then Call to Greatness 12, he says he wants to make an impact. He's starting to be treated like someone who matters. And he wants to keep that going. And he wants to prove a point. The only way he can do that is with a big impact at Call to Greatness 12. And if he makes that big impact at Call to Greatness 12, He's going to walk out a different man than he was before. So he goes on and on and on about the opportunity to succeed in this business and the opportunity to succeed and capitalize on one thing you did that made or that made or break that made or broke you. And he said he wants that opportunity at Call to Greatness 12. And in his words, he went, I'm asking tonight, and I'll keep asking until I get an answer. And if I don't like that answer, I'm going to keep asking even more. So, at Call to Greatness 12, I want a yes or no from you, Morbid. I want to know whether you're man enough to take a challenge from someone smaller, shorter, lighter than you. Take a chance, make the most of it, give me a chance, and see what happens. Those weren't his exact words, but because I forgot what happened, what he said halfway through. But ultimately, he challenged Morbid to a match at Call to Greatness 12. I laugh at that now, but I really shouldn't, because I don't know if that's the smartest decision. Um, I'm torn of this because James is quickly becoming one of my. He's always really been one of my, probably my favorite, most underrated performer of all time. Someone who's been worthy of a mid card feud or a mid card championship run of a long time, but never really got that. In big stints, he's always been one of the most underrated guys in USW. And now that he's getting a big profile match called the Greatness 12, hopefully, that's awesome. But um, I don't think he's going to beat Morbid. I mean, I know I beat Morbid 3 years ago. I think it was Cannon beat Morbid 2 years ago, and Derek Carter beat Morbid a year ago. But, I don't think they're going to have Morbid lose a 4th year in a row. He was 7-0 before I beat him. Now he's 7-3. And now I don't think he's going 7-4. I think it's going to be an 8-3 situation. I think he'll put on a killer match with James. I think James will walk away a lot more over with the crowd than before, and I think he'll get a big opportunity. But I don't think he's going to beat Morbid, which kind of pisses me off because I think James deserves a high-profile Call to Greatness win. And while it may not be this year, and maybe it's next year, maybe he walks out the USW champion next year, or maybe he walks out the World Heavyweight champion next year, something like that. That would be awesome. But I'm really, really hoping that if they're planning on doing that, where he loses this year at Call to Greatness and has his big moment next year at Call to Greatness 13, which is rumored for Montreal or Chicago, which is interesting, to say the least. I'm worried that James will kind of fade out by then. I mean, I know USW's writers are very capable of keeping guys strong for a year or for over a year. Look what Derek Carter. I mean, Derek Carter got injured with a torn ACL, was out for a year, then came back, kicked my ass, took the USW title from me, retired me, and then went on for a whole spree of now what is over a year with main event status and caliber. I just don't. I don't. I wouldn't take the chance if I was writing for Intensity. I mean, I would have him. If Majigeta were going to challenge for the world championship, I would have him challenge Derek Carter for the USW Championship. I would capitalize on James's success now, then wait and see what happens in the future. Because look at what Severity did with Crimson Red and Hernasli. They had success. They were building, so they capitalized on it as soon as they possibly could. And it worked out for them, because now Hernasli and Crimson Red are in the middle of probably extensive storylines. Crimson Red's not going to be on the Outcast show, and Hernasli will be challenging for the international. No. The global championship. So overall, it looks promising for those two, but they didn't hold off on it. I think this could be a situation where James walks away in a very pathetic situation, which would suck because everybody is actually finally opening up to him. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens from here on out. But yeah, Morbid doesn't answer. His music hits, nothing happens, and then the music stops and James walks away disappointed. That's pretty much what happened. So that's going to be a recurring storyline. Match number 7, main event time, USW Championship. Washington challenges Derek Carter, the defending USW champion. This match was not what I expected it to be. I thought it'd be more technical than powerhouse. I know Washington is a powerhouse, and I know Derek Carter can be a powerhouse, but I thought it would be more technical and more grappling based. But it wasn't. Not that I say anything bad, because the match was still really good. It's just something that I didn't expect. Carter pulled out every stop. A lot of counters, which is probably the most technical thing about it. Washington, started hitting Carter hard. But in the end, when it came down to Washington looking for the monument and Carter countering and hitting a super kick, really out of nowhere, he elbowed him to the head a bunch of times, got Washington to a knee. I know that sounded dirty. Let's just do that for a couple seconds. And then Washington got up, super kick immediately, 1, 2, 3, Carter wins, so Carter retains, and Carter wins clean. I don't know exactly what they're planning on doing with Washington now. I thought it was a good match, 3.5 stars. I just expected a little bit different from the main event. I thought it was kind of interesting. I thought it was kind of different, but overall, Carter won clean, and that's how you ended the show. Overall, I don't think Derek Carter winning clean would do much for him as a heel as much as it would if he were a face. So I think if he had implemented like a low blow behind the ref's back or something like that, that would have kind of built up, the heel situation more, or, he used heel tactics where he'd use the ropes, or he'd utilize the 5 count, he utilized the count out, he put him through the announce table, he would hit him with a chair while the referee was down, something like that. And that really didn't happen. Carter won clean. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what that kind of goes through. Maybe it's a way to have Derek Carter kind of gloat over the next couple of months. I know he gloated on intensity, but I know I'm interested to see what happens from here on out. That's kind of interesting. So with that being said, that was my review of USW Chaos Theory. I thought it was a very interesting show. I thought it did well when it came down to utilizing storytelling. And I would give it a solid 3.5 stars. Do I think it was the best pay-per-view of the year? Not by any means. I think Insanity really put the bar up there. And I think Call to Greatness 12 is going to be insanely good. But yeah, it was an above-average pay-per-view from what you would expect from a Soul-branded pay-per-view. And I thought they really delivered. So with that being said, I'm going to say, is it worth $20? Yeah. I would say if you haven't seen it before, it's worth $20. If you had seen it before, it's not worth the extra $5 to own. Because overall, I mean, because with USW, you have to rent it first, and then you have to pay $5 extra to own it. So that's their new library thing. Um, is it worth the $5 to own? Maybe for the storytelling to go back and watch it. If you're into owning the pay-per-views from before, so you can see the storytelling and story progress from there on out, I would say yeah, I guess. If you're just in it to like own it because it was a really good show, I mean, the only big parts you would for the owner or to own it, the biggest things that I would see from owning it that you would get out of it is Cannon versus Alexander Rotten, the Stargazers debut, and that's about it. All other matches were kind of like, yeah, they were good. They were good. They were decent, above average, or slightly below average. But yeah, $20 worth to rent, yes. $5 worth to own, not really. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. I am Zach Hardy. I'm signing off.